Alrighty, welcome back to a brand new episode of Hot Takes, where I take your...
Hey, Overshore, we're not doing hot takes today.
What?
Nah, Chief, we're doing cold takes today.
Cold takes?
Yeah, like hot takes that aren't hot.
Oh, well, let me try that intro again. Alrighty, welcome back to a brand new episode of Cold Takes, where I take your popular, undisputed, widely agreed upon opinions of country music, and try to figure out where the heat or discussion is to be found within them. For context, I take all the hot takes from my Discord, and while there are loads of great takes that create some really entertaining discussion and debate, there's also a fair share of takes that are just plain not hot. I'm sort of just going in blindly. Maybe this video will be a lot of fun, maybe it won't, but either way, welcome to Cold Takes. Also, before we get in, if your take is featured here, please don't be offended or discouraged from adding hot takes. This is all just some lighthearted fun. And a lot of you guys that may have a take featured here have probably contributed some of the better hot takes in the channel anyways. It's hit and miss. But to get straight into it, the good ones did not deserve 3 weeks at number 1. When you compare it to other love songs, the lyrics are weak. There's a lot of songs that don't deserve the recognition they receive. If you look at the country radio charts, number 1 is like rarely what I myself would consider a good song. It's always just the current trend from a radio darling like Brett Young. But secondly, no one's arguing this. Like, the good ones is a middle of the road, I would think, boring pop country song. Essentially just a girlfriend country song rather than a boyfriend country song. If you came out and said someone like Luke Combs didn't deserve a number 1, then maybe there's some more debate to be had. But to come on and say a rinse and repeat radio-friendly pop country hit didn't deserve 3 weeks at number 1 is a pretty widely agreed upon idea. Easton Corbin deserves to be on the radio more than Luke Combs. Sticking with the theme of radio, to begin this take, I would open with saying I think Luke Combs is a much more intriguing and exciting artist, but that's subjective. What isn't subjective is the fact that the last Easton Corbin album was in 2015. He put out an EP last year that, if I'm being honest, I didn't really enjoy. Whereas you pan the camera to Luke Combs, he's become one of the few artists to really captivate both the mainstream and non-stream fan bases. He was one of the leaders in the neo-traditional movement back in 2019. He put out 2 full-length albums within 2 years, which have spawned hit after hit. And I think Grady put something on his story just the other day saying how What You See Is What You Get is still like one of the top-selling albums, and it's like nearly 2 years old. So to say Easton Corbin deserves to be on radio more than Luke Combs, I'm not really sure about that one. Reputation is better than any mainstream album of 2017. This is a subjective take. I can't say it's black and white wrong, but I am going to say it's black and white wrong. Technically, I guess this is a hot take, but I've included this to formally just come on and say no, like this is not true. It is probably my least favorite Taylor Swift record of all time. I think it was Jaron who referred to it as the poop skid on Taylor's discography. And I couldn't agree more. This is one of those takes where, like, I'll say you're allowed to have your own opinion as long as you know your opinion's wrong. Okay.
Voy a la playa, había subido la marea. Eso. Eso. Había subido la marea con triple paella.
I get a lot of hot takes where it's just simply like a song is greater than a song, or the same thing with an album. Oftentimes the songs are completely unrelated as well. And even then, I don't really know how much of a hot take it is to begin with, because nothing I can say is really going to change the fact you prefer one song over the other. The only time it can really be considered a hot take is when the person says they prefer like a widely hated song to a widely loved song, like when someone said country stuff is better than Whiskey Lullaby. But like, in what world are those two comparable? Like, if you're gonna do one of these this is better than that takes, at least pick some similar songs so there's something to go off of and compare. That's like saying Lionel Messi is better than Connor McDavid. By what metric? Those takes just don't make sense to me. Again, like I said, even if it is a hot take, where am I supposed to go with that? Like, explain why the one is better than the other, or explain why they're comparable. It's like you're back in math class and I'm the teacher asking you to show your work. I don't know. I just don't think there's much substance to those takes. On the topic of substanceless takes, I get a lot of takes that are just, this is an artist's best song. And again, like, okay, that's your opinion. What am I supposed to do with that? Of course, there's probably a lot of takes that are just looking to start conversation within the server, but when I'm making a new hot takes video and I read all the takes, you'd be surprised how many are nothing more than this is an artist's best song. Also, there are some occasions where people will literally say this song is one of the artist's best, and it's literally like their most beloved song. That's not a hot take. I've gotten things like Even Though I'm Leaving is a good song. Yes? Or The House That Built Me is one of Miranda Lambert's best songs. Yes? Like, oh, here's a hot take for you guys. Give Heaven Some Hell is one of the best songs from the Rock album. That's right. I said it. I let the beast out of the cage. Just gonna sit back and watch the server go up in flames. Wine, Beer, and Whiskey by Little Big Town has a nice and unique sound to it, and it reminds me a lot of Tequila Little Time by John Party. I had to include this take simply because it feels really contradictory. You just said Wine, Beer, and Whiskey is nice and has a really unique sound, but then turn around and name a song it vividly reminds you of. I understand what you're trying to say, like the style of those two tracks isn't a very common sound in country music, but simply for the fact you said it was unique and then directly compared it to a similar song in the same sentence, I had to include it. If Dan and Shay toned it back on the poppy worship songs and leaned into that acoustic ballad sound while singing about other topics, then they could still be very popular without their success feeling trend chasing and even fake or out of place were at times in the country music industry. I had a bit of a hard time reading that. There is so much I have to say about this take. I mean, to begin, Dan and Shay are often the trend setters. That doesn't mean the trends they set are always good, but in terms like boyfriend, worship country, all that stuff, they were one of the pioneers, and it's not out of place in the country music industry if it's following suit with the exact trend dominating the industry. That's being as in place as you can be. But the glaring issue is the meat of this take. All this take is really saying is that if Dan and Shay were good, they would be good. If you get rid of everything that makes them bad and substituted it for good attributes, they would be good. That's like saying if the Buffalo Sabres got better management and traded their worst players for the starting lineup of the Metropolitan All-Stars team, they would be a good team. Like, yes? The only thing Midland has going for them is their throwback style. If not for that, they would not be very good. This take doesn't make too much sense to me. It's just saying if you get rid of an artist's best aspect, they aren't very good. If you took any artist's signature style or best talent, then yeah, they probably won't be very good. It's like the flip side of the Dan and Shay take I just talked about. That's like saying if Jason Isbell couldn't write songs, he wouldn't be very good. If Chris Stapleton couldn't sing, he wouldn't be very good. I'm not saying those are the only two things Chris and Jason do well, but for the sake of the illustration, it is their strongest suit. If you take away the best part of something, no, it's not going to be as good as it currently is. But even then, I would still push back on this take. Midlands still have their harmonies. They also have a fun, consistent theme through their songwriting and production. I think their songwriting in general has really improved on their new EP, The Last Resort. If you haven't checked that out, be sure to check it out. I just put a review up. I don't know when this video comes out. It's probably like a week ago by now. Although, it's worth pointing out that this take was before that Midland EP. But either way, I think there is a lot more to Midland than just their throwback style. But at the end of the day, that is their signature thing. Their persona is these throwback 70s playboys, and their music and writing reflects that. Furthermore, if you're still not impressed, listen to their Sonic Ranch album, which doesn't feature their over-the-top glossy production. It's just rough around the edges western country songs. I don't know. I'm getting defensive, but that's probably what you guys want. But I mean, I like Midland. I gotta defend my boys. And with that, that is all I've got for you guys today. Again, if your takes are featured here, please don't take it personally. Just some light-hearted fun. Don't let this make you hesitant to add hot takes, because I'm always here for more hot takes. And if you have a hot take you want to be featured in a future episode, be sure to join the Discord. The link is in the description. And if anyone asks, this is a one-off video. I am not making this a series. This is going to be the only cold takes episode. So please don't go into the hot takes and start dumping ice cubes all over the place in hopes of being featured in the next cold takes episode, because it's never going to come. And I'm probably just going to remove your take if it's like blatantly trying to be cold. With that said, I think I've said everything I needed to say. Links are in the description as usual. And yeah, have a great day.